I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into TNA Impact from March the 19th, 2026. This was not a very good show outside of Steve Maclin and Mike Santana. Their sit down, which was great. I love that. And the passionate short promo from Leon Slater, that was good. Other than that, this show was a total flop, in my humble opinion. We are a week away until Sacrifice, and then from Sacrifice, we'll be 3 weeks away until Rebellion. I will say this. TNA needs new talent. I'll keep saying this throughout the review. TNA needs new talent. Before we get into the show, let's talk about the ratings. The ratings have been consistent. They've been consistent. TNA's been on AMC for 2 months now, so that's good. The ratings for last week's show, which was March the 12th, that show drew in 259K viewers, which was great. A 4% increase from the previous week's, which was 249K. So they got 1,000 new viewers, which is good. And the show earned a 0.04 in the rating between the 18 to 49 demographic. So that's really good. So it's basically just been consistent. And that's a good thing. TNA being on AMC has done wonders for the product. And it's good. You know, TNA being a part of AMC is great. So that's good. Excellent stuff there. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. All right, so we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. I did not watch it. I didn't watch most of it. The Hometown Man, a.k.a. Diener, defeated Frankie Kazarian. I barely watched this match because I don't care about either guy. AJ Francis, he came out, he got involved. And the Hometown Man fought him off, and then he was able to roll up Frankie Kazarian for the 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Frankie Kazarian and AJ Francis, they jumped Diener. The lights went out. Elijah showed up, and he hit AJ Francis with a guitar shot, and then the heels, they scurried away. That's fine. Who really cares? It's not that important, if we're being honest. Again, the problem with TNA is they need new, fresh talent. Enough of Frankie Kazarian, enough of Moose, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Eric Young. Move those guys out of the fucking way. Make those guys producers. It's time to move on from those guys. It's time. Enough is enough. They need fresh talent. Moving on. The Angel Warriors, Xia Li and Xia Brookside, they were backstage. They were talking to Gio Miller. They're basically just going to send a message to Dani Luna and Ariana Grace, their opponents. And Li Yang Lee, she wants her rematch. So that's fine. Okay, who gives a damn? Moving on from that, this leads us into Santino Marella and Daria Ray, a.k.a. Sonya Deville. They were backstage bickering back and forth. And then they agreed to make a triple threat involving Ariana Grace, Dani Luna, who's owed a title match since Genesis, and the former champion, Xia Li. So it's going to be a triple threat match at Sacrifice. Not really a fan, but I kind of saw that coming a mile away, for being honest. It is what it is, though, at this point. Moving on from that, this leads us into Mr. Elegance. He finally made his in-ring debut. He should have made his in-ring debut back in February, if we're being honest. He defeated Mike Jackson. Yes, Mike Jackson, who's about late 60s. It makes no damn sense. So I didn't really watch this match either. Didn't really care about it. So Mr. Elegance, he won. He hit a fireman's carry into a spine buster, which seems pretty cool. It's called the Excuse Me, according to Matthew Waywall. Well, Excuse Moi. So that's fine, but again, what's the end goal to Mr. Elegance being a part of the Elegance brand? What's the end goal? Like, what is he going to really actually be doing? Like, he can't continue to do this for like 6 or 8 months. Like, you got to do something with this guy. He looks decent. He does. But, like, what's he really there for long term? Because this can get stale really quickly, if we're being honest. So post-match, the Elegance brand, they tried to pour some drinks onto Mike Jackson, but ODB showed up and made the save. She ended up using a steel chair. She hit Mr. Elegance in the ribs with a steel chair. Then she got some drinks and poured it all over Mr. Elegance. And I think they also put in some barbecue sauce as well, too, or whatever. Something like that. But it is what it is. Just a bunch of comedy shit. That's fine, I guess. Who really cares? Again, what's the end goal to Mr. Elegance being a part of the Elegance brand? What's his goal? Like, does he want to be a champion of some sort? Maybe, X Division champion or the international champion, world champion, tag team champion? What? Like, I don't know, man. I'm still a fan of the Elegance brand. I love the personal concierge, George Iceman. Great stuff. Great guy. Just good. But again, what's the main plan and objective for Mr. Elegance long term? All right, moving on from that. This leads us into the system. They were backstage. They just basically want gold. They want to be champions. So Brian Myers and Bear Bronson, they want the TNA tag team titles. The TNA tag team titles. I'm sorry. And Cedric Alexander, he wants the X Division title, which he's owed that match from Genesis, a title shot from Genesis. And then Eddie Edwards, we know that he wants the world title from Mike Santana, and he said that the clock is ticking on Mike Santana's title reign. Not really true. I don't see Mike Santana losing the title for a while, honestly. And I think when he loses, it'll probably be to Leon Slater. And that's probably where TNA is going to go at some point this year. Maybe either at Slammiversary or at Bound for Glory. So there's that. But again, I don't see Mike Santana losing at all for quite some time. Moving on. This leads us into Denny Luna and Ariana Grace. They defeated the Angel Warriors, Lei Ying Lee, aka Xia Li, and Xia Brookside. So Denny Luna got the win via the moon landing, which was great. Match was pretty okay. This was one of the better matches on the show, honestly, for being honest. So there's that. Moving on, this leads us into Leon Slater. So he came out, he got a really good reaction. He said that he began to doubt himself after the pile driver Eric Young gave him on the ramp 2 weeks ago. But Leon Slater started to doubt himself. But at But at Sacrifice, he'll stand 10 toes down to break Eric Young's bald bitch ass at Sacrifice. So that's great. I love that. Really good stuff there. A really good, fiery, passionate promo from Leon Slater. Leon Slater seems more confident on the mic, and he's good. Again, TNA needs to begin to find their replacements for Mike Santana and Leon Slater. We all know that in due time, both guys will end up in NXT at some point. I know Leon Slater's contract is up at the end of the year. I'm not sure if it's up in November or December, but it's up around the end of the year. So if they're going to give him the world title, they need to do it either at Slammiversary or Bound for Glory. One of the two. Either or. I would go personally with Bound for Glory, basically. That would be better because that's their WrestleMania. Because Slammiversary is just their version of SummerSlam. So I wouldn't do that at Slammiversary. I would just hold off until Bound for Glory. Moving on, this leads us into Moose versus Brian Myers. I didn't fucking watch the match at all either. Moose gets the win. He spears Brian Myers for the 1, 2, 3. The system, they got involved. So it is what it is. Santino Marella, he came out before the match really got underway and said that the system's been banned from ringside. So, there's that. Whatever. I don't care about this at all. Moving on, this leads us into Rosemary. She's backstage. She snapped her fingers. And Allie appeared. We hadn't seen Allie in about probably maybe, 4 years maybe? Maybe 5 years. Because she spent some time in AEW. I think she spent about a couple years in AEW, I think. Maybe 3. So Allie said that she wanted a change of clothes because she quote unquote died, meaning she went to AEW, in the outfit she was wearing. So they go to Raven, who's envious of Tommy Dreamer. So Tommy Dreamer, face looks like it caught on fire, and someone put it on a rake. So Raven presented Rosemary with Tommy Dreamer's blood from a match from 1995. I'm like, what the hell? And then that was it. This is bizarre. This is weird. This is some type of satanic shit. I don't know what the hell's going on here with this. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but it's also kind of creepy and weird. But that's been Rosemary's character for years. She's been that way for years, for well over a decade. Because she was doing some of this shit back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So she's been doing this for 11 years. This is fine, though, I guess. But I'm not too sure what the end goal of this is, if we're being honest. I don't know. Maybe they're going to bring forth a new form of Decay. The faction that was Rosemary, Abyss, and Crazy Steve when Abyss and Crazy Steve were there. Crazy Steve, I don't know where he is. I'm guessing he's on the Indies, I guess. And we all know that Abyss is in WWE. He's a producer, so, there's that. So it is what it is. Moving on from that, this leads us into the system. So they're backstage. They're pissed off about not being able to get involved in Brian Myers' match. So, Barry Bronson said that he's coming for Moose. Brian Myers wanted to remind the Hardys who he was. And then he went off looking for Daria Ray. I don't care about any of this at all. Like, dude, Brian Myers is nothing special. He was a jobber in WWE for well over 10 years. So, like, who gives a shit? Like, enough. Moving on. Elena Black, a.k.a. Cora Jade, defeated Jada Stone. So, there's that. Mara Sade, she was on commentary. She looked really good. So, Elena Black wins the match via blackout. The match wasn't long. It was maybe 3 minutes. Tasha Steelz came out to get involved as well. This was to serve as a distraction for Jada Stone. And then post-match, basically, Mara Sade and Elena Black, they had some words, and security came in to break it up and everything. So I do like that. And they were separated, and they went to the crowd. So they're still continuing that feud, which is fine. I'm down with that. Really good shit there. I'm very excited for that. So Mustafa Ali, he showed up along with the rest of Order 4. They were about to attack Jada Stone because they surrounded the ring, and then Trey Miguel came out with a steel chair. That's fine. Okay, cool stuff there, I guess. So we're still going to do Trey Miguel and Mustafa Ali at some point for the TNA International Championship. That's fine. It'll probably happen more so at Rebellion, which makes sense. Because I thought they were going to do it at Sacrifice, but they're not. I think it's going to be Trey Miguel and Jada Stone versus Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz at Sacrifice, which is fine. So there's that. Moving on from that, Jody Threat and her crew, they showed up to confront Tessa Blanchard and her crew. That's all they did. They had some words, and it is what it is. Tessa Blanchard, man, how the mighty have fallen. She's not done anything relevant in TNA in months. I enjoy this little faction that they have, but they've not done much of anything in regards to Tessa Blanchard at all. And it's mind-boggling. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you could move her up on the card. Like, seriously. You need some main event knockouts in that knockouts division. You don't have any. You really don't. Like, Daniel Luna, you can make her into a main eventer. Clearly, she's kind of ready for that spot. Like, she's great. And then you also have Tessa Blanchard, who's great. But other than that, you don't really have much anybody. Everybody else is like low mid-card. I would assume who ends up being champion at some point. It'll probably, I'm hoping they'll go with either Atlanta Black or go with Mara Sade. They'll probably end up going with Atlanta Black first and then have Mara Sade be the one to dethrone Atlanta Black at some point. So, there's that. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into the main event of the evening, wrestling-wise. The Nemesis, Ryan and Nick Nemeth, they defeat the Righteous, Benson, and Dutch. Who really cares? It's heel versus heel. I'm not interested in any of this. The Nemesis get the win. Who cares? Not really that important. I don't care at all. Moving on from that, this leads us into the closing segment of the night, which was Mike Santana and Steve Maclin. So they sit across from each other with a table. So Maclin, he ordered 2 drinks. So Mike Santana, he said that when he returned to TNA, Steve Maclin was someone who helped him prove he belonged in TNA. Mike Santana looked up to Steve Maclin like a brother, as someone who always had Mike Santana's back. Santana started talking about Maclin's ego, but Maclin began to cut him off. Steve Maclin talked about his experience in Afghanistan, getting out of his van to sweep for miles. Sweep for mines for 2 miles, even though he had no experience, which that was interesting. Thank God he's okay. So, then the drinks come. Obviously, Mike Santana didn't drink at all because he's sober. So Maclin took a sip of whatever he was drinking. So Mike Santana said while Maclin was fighting somebody else's war, he was fighting a war within himself. Yes, Mike Santana used his past to get him where he is, but Mike Santana made his past his superpower. But Steve Maclin made his past his excuse. Mike Santana hoped Steve Maclin was ready for war. Was ready at Sacrifice to fight for everything he's complained about. When Mike Santana wins at Sacrifice, all the drama that Steve Maclin caused would have been for nothing. So that's fine. And then Steve Maclin says nothing, and then Mike Santana pays the tab, I guess, and then that was it. So, and then Mike Santana says, "You're welcome for your job." So that's cool there. I like that. Interesting stuff there. Excellent. Really good way to end the show. This is a really good feud. I've been very invested in it. I hope this is not a one and done. I think it won't be. I think they're going to end up having Mike Santana retain at Sacrifice next week. And probably at Rebellion, it's probably going to end up being like a fatal 4-way probably. I would imagine we see Nick Namath and Eddie Edwards get involved into play, because those are your only 3 top heels: Eddie Edwards, Nick Namath, and Steve Maclin. You don't have anybody else, and that's the problem with TNA. They don't really have a strong division of anything. You don't have a strong knockouts division. They don't have a strong tag team division. They don't have a strong mid-card division for the men or women. It's just not strong. It's just, I don't know. They need help, and I don't know how they can get it right now. Again, Tony Khan is too damn stubborn to let people go and release people so they can go to places like TNA. And like I said, NXT and TNA are both suffering because of Tony Khan's stubbornness, right? You know, NXT's having to build their own stars from the ground up. And TNA's kind of same thing, really. So, you know, it is what it is, man, but damn. But TNA, they need way more help than NXT needs help. Like, NXT, they still got stars down there, but TNA, they don't have anyone down there at all. They have no one down there, so I don't know. But overall, the show was not good this week. The matches were very, very weak. The only thing I liked about the show was the Steve Maclin, Mike Santana stuff. That was good. And I dug the promo from Leon Slater. Other than that, this show was garbage. Oh, and I did like the Knockouts tag team match. I thought that was good. So other than those 3 things, this show just wasn't good. It just was not good. So it is what it is at this point. But hopefully TNA can get themselves together. Hopefully they can bring in some surprises at some point. Maybe at Rebellion we'll see some new guys show up. So, you know, there's that. But what did you guys think of TNA? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe.